Hey there, guys. All right, today we are back with some more extra history. This time, starting their new series because we've finished the previous one. This time, The Empire of Mali, The Twang of a Bow, Episode 1. Before we dive in, make sure you go and check out the links in the description box below. I would love it if you joined the Discord and followed me over at Twitch. Okay, let me hit it. We just gotta move the mic around a little bit. Hold on. Pardon me. All right, here we go. Maybe that one's good. Okay. Before Did I say that already? Before we dive in, make sure you go and check out the links in the description box below. I'd love to join the Discord and follow me over at Twitch. I can't remember if I already said that, so I'm saying it again, just in case. Let's dive in.
The traders of Morocco speak of a great kingdom to the south. To journey there is treacherous, 70 days across the dune seas of the Sahara, with little water between oasis towns. Those who reach it find a strange land, dry like the seashore, inhabited by half-converted people who know the words of the prophet, yet cling to the old rituals. And yet the traders go, bearing spices, silk, ivory, and slaves. For this land has something worth crossing deserts for. Gold. Vast, incalculable quantities of gold.
Bum, bum, bum.
It's 1235. The Mongols surround the...
It is? No, it's 10:28 right now for me. It's funny.
church and capital. The Holy Roman Empire and the papacy squabble, and barons raise troops for a new crusade in the Holy Land. But meanwhile, another great question of empire is being settled on the West African savannah. The exiled Prince Sunjata arrays his forces against his enemy, the sorcerer king Soumaoro Kante. The prize? The fallen capital of the Ghana Empire. The sides meet. Spears flash and sorcerers chant incantations. Sunjata presses forward through the melee, moving towards Soumaoro. He knows that there's one chance. He must shoot an arrow tipped with a rooster's spur through the evil enchanter. His bow bends, the string twangs, and the arrow flies. Or so the great epic of the Mandinka says. But however it happened, Sunjata's victory is both very real and absolute. It is the beginning of the Mali Empire. Here, the Mandinka people, who will form the mainstay of Imperial Mali, will wipe aside their last oppression, raise the ancient capital of Ghana, and become lords of the trans-Saharan trade. But the path to this great battle had been a long one. Sunjata was born in the ruins of the Empire of Ghana, a once great state fallen to chaos. Founded sometime around the year 700, the Empire of Ghana had grown rich as the middleman trading gold, which was prized by trans-Saharan caravanners in the north, for salt that was needed in the rainforests bordering its south. Their coffers grew fat off the trade, and from taxing merchants who crossed their territory. But the empire's neighbors grew envious of Ghana's wealth and power, making it an irresistible target. By the 11th century, a Moroccan incursion damaged the empire, to the point that it was no longer able to guard its small farming villages. And as those villages began to fend for themselves, they increasingly began to vie for independence. Meanwhile, drought forced people to migrate, pushing the teetering Ghanan state past the point of collapse. A dozen minor fiefdoms emerged, the shattered remnants of a once mighty nation. The Mandinka prince, Sunjata, was born into one of these fiefdoms, unable to walk. Because of this disability, the royal family mocked and mistreated the boy and his mother throughout his childhood. But this prince would not be so easily cowed. For years, he struggled against the dead weight of his legs, until at the age of 7, he took his first step. But as the young Sunjata finally won the approval of his father, his half-brothers, the sons of the king's other wife, began to resent him and fear that he might actually be chosen over them in the line of succession. When the king died, Sunjata's mother knew her family wasn't safe. She fled into exile with her son and all of his siblings, gaining asylum at the court of a neighboring king. Sunjata would watch his half-brothers rule from afar. But as he grew older, the tenacious little prince became a favorite of his adopted king, too. The monarch appointed him as viceroy, and even allowed Sunjata to govern in his absence. But back in his homeland, trouble was brewing. A number of smaller states and local leaders scrambled to fill the void left by the collapsed Empire of Ghana, including the sorcerer king, Soumaoro Kante. Soumaoro seized the former capital of the empire and expanded it outward, enveloping Sunjata's people. An exceptionally cruel leader, according to the epic, Sou kept the heads of 9 defeated kings in his chamber and wore sandals made from human skin. The Mandinka suffered under his rule. Desperate for aid, Sunjata's family sent messengers out to the neighboring kingdom, begging Sunjata to help liberate them from their oppressors. Despite the years of separation and mistreatment, Sunjata resolved to return and fight. He brought with him half of his patron's army, but even that was no match for the forces of Sou. To have any chance, he would have to unite a coalition of smaller, disparate kingdoms to oppose Sou. By force of will, personality, and a shared hatred of Sou. Cruelty, he actually managed to do so. Their revolt began in 1234. And that brings us back to where our story began, the twang of a bow and the glorious victory of Sunjata. In the wake of the battle, Sunjata, only 18, was crowned Mansa, or emperor, of the 12-nation alliance that had marched with him. The nations were technically answerable to him, but he ran the Mali Empire more as a federation than as an absolute despot, with each tribe sending a chiefly representative to court. With its disparate, hostile tribes now fully integrated, Sunjata's new kingdom was uniquely situated for success. Indeed, the borders of Mali expanded further than Ghana's ever had. And unlike the Ghana Empire, which had been merely situated between the salt deposits to the north and the productive gold mines to the south, the Mali Empire's newly annexed territories now contained 3 immense gold mines within its own borders. Seeing this potential, Sunjata reinvigorated the trade in salt, slaves, and gold, taxing every merchant who passed through his lands. The combination of a decentralized, stable government and steady tax revenue allowed Sunjata to organize and outfit a sizable full-time military to guard the caravan routes, ensuring that trade would continue to flow. He selected his hometown of Niani as the new capital of his empire, a center which was further south than the old Ghanan capital, less vulnerable to Moroccan raiders and better situated for agriculture. He would rule for 20 years, and though he would die in some sort of tragic accident, either by drowning or being mistakenly shot at a festival, we're not sure which, his life ushered in a—
How the fuck do you get mistakenly shot at a festival when you're the Mansa? What the fuck?
New age for West Africa. But that new age came with new problems. The next 25 years saw great gains for Mali, but also dynastic struggles that threatened to undo the fragile peace. For after Sunjata's death, custom dictated that his biological son become the new Mansa. But since the boy was too young, one of Sunjata's adopted sons seized the throne. At first, everything seems to go okay. For over 15 years, Sunjata's successor added yet more lands to the empire and initiated agricultural reforms that helped secure food production. He also introduced Islam into the monarchy and became the first ruler of Mali to make the Hajj, or pilgrimage to Mecca, helping to strengthen ties with North Africa. But Sunjata's successor had also adopted the sons of his generals as a part of his efforts to hold on to power. And when he died, 2 of his adopted sons split the country in a devastating civil war. First, one son ruled for 4 years, his reign's lavishness matched only by his cruelty. Then, upon his death, the other son took the throne, and proved an even worse ruler than his brother. At this point, the people rose up and killed him in a riot. After that, the nation's representatives swore, no more foolishness, it was time to govern. For the next several decades, a series of court officials with close ties to Sunjata took the throne, and things finally began to even out. They opened direct trade negotiations with Tripoli and Morocco, and led a successful military campaign into Senegal. With trade booming, they financed an exploratory expedition into the Atlantic, which returned with reports of a great river flowing through the ocean. Seeing an opportunity for wealth—
A great river flowing through the ocean? Huh?
And adventure, the king, Mansa Abubakari Keita II, raised a fleet of 2,000 ships and prepared to find and settle whatever new land this current might sweep him to. He left his regent in charge of the empire and dropped his sails. Neither the emperor nor any of his ships were ever heard from again. Yet this unfortunate occurrence paved the way for Mali's golden age.
Okay. And that was the Empire of Mali, Extra History number 1, The Twang of a Bow. This was a good episode. I thought it was pretty well paced. I liked the storytelling to it, and I liked that they made reference to the epic. And and specifically showed like it being an oral story. I really like that touch of, because it's they're not explicitly like they don't specifically state their sources most of the time, but you know, showing that hey, this is a oral story, like the differences in the collection and way history is remembered in different parts of the world is really cool. I like that that they showed that you know that Africa has a strong oral tradition, right? They didn't focus too much on it, but maybe I'm looking too much into it. But I really like that. I took a pre-colonial African history class my last semester of college 2 years ago. Oh, uh, and yeah, it was really cool. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.